until all the players have gotten starting resources. Now the first player will play their turn. That is how the game begins. But what is the objective of the game and how do you achieve those objectives? The objective of the game is simple. You need to have the most number of majority voters in this zone, in these zones. As you can see, there are 9 zones on the map. Can you open chat? One second. Yeah, Dheeraj, you can see the main board on camera now, right? Awesome, great. It would be, so as you can see, we have 9 zones, each with 2 numbers. The first number, the bigger number, is the number required. That's the total number of voters that can go in that zone. So in this zone, it says 11. That means there are 11 circles. 11 voters can be placed. Whoever places 6 has a majority in that zone, and that zone is now has a majority. Similarly, when all zones have majority, the game ends. The person with the most majority voters wins the game. What does that mean? It means that if, let's say, player A has the north zone and south zone, and player B has the northwest, the northeast, and the southeast zone, player B has more zones, but has a total of 6 plus 6 plus 6, 18 points. Even if they have all 11 votes in this area, they only get 6 points, making their score a total of 18 points. Player A has 22 points. So player A wins the game. Now, how do you get voters? These are your voters. How do you place them? You place voters by opening up these voter cards. Voter cards come in 3 sizes. You have a new box over here, so everything is in order. Give me a second. So a voter card will have 3 voters, 2 voters, or 1 voter written on it. These are 3 voters. To have 3 voters, you pay these resources. To get that 1 voter, you pay these. To get 2 voters, you pay these. These are the resources you have as a politician. What are these resources? These resources are campaign funds, media attention, trust of the people, and clout on the streets. As you can see, each one corresponds to an ideologue. So you earn resources, you spend resources, and you influence voters. So if any point in the game, I have, in my turn, if I have 2 trust, 2 clout and 1 trust, I can discard these, which means put these back, and gain this 1 voter card. This 1 voter card can be gained, which means I can take 1 voter and place it anywhere on the board. While placing it, I do not place it the symbol side up, I place it symbol side down. So let's say I place it over here. Or for better for camera, I place it over here. The second I have 5, this zone will be mine. The important question here is, how do I get these voter cards, these resources? You get resources by answering a question every turn. Switch. Just do these live, the switches. Okay. So this is the ideology card box. 108 cards in this. At the end of your turn, before the next player's turn begins, you start their turn by asking them a question. Should the government bail? So question will have a question on top and 2 answers. Do not show the card to the player. Just read the question out and read the answers out. So should the government bail out large banks when they collapse? There are 2 answers. Read them both out. Yes, banks are the foundation of a sturdy economy and must be protected. Or no, you can only rely on the wads of cash in your mattress. The second the player whose turn it is answers the card, they get this card. And on the card, there are resources. So they get, if they said no, because it's an outrageous answer, you get 2 media attention and some trust. They also get this card, which gets slid under the ideologue. Now their showstopper has leveled up. They will gain these resources and they will gain this. Okay. Now what will happen? As the game progresses, you will answer more questions. And as you answer more questions, you will see a pattern that will start to emerge. Keep it there. Let's say you keep answering, and you keep answering as a capitalist with a streak of showstopper. That will be your build, as we call it. which means at this point in the game, you are level 4 showstopper and level 3 capitalist. What does that mean? I'm going to bring this center. The first rule that you must pay attention to is for every 2 ideology cards you hold of an ideologue, get 1 extra resource of that type. Basically, at the start of your turn, apart from these resources that you get for that new question, you will also get 2 media for free every turn. Not only that, you can also see at level 3 and level 5, you unlock new powers. So here you have unlocked a level 3. If I answer one more, I unlock a level 5. Level 3 means 1 plus voter, 1 plus 1 voter per voter card, which means if I buy this 3 voter card, I get 4 voters instead. You can do this twice per turn. You can do this every turn. If you have a level 3 and you unlock a level 5, now you can use both. A level 5 power can break majorities. So that is how your ideology builds. And as the game progresses, because you have more cards, you will gain more resources. So here you would receive also 1 funds for free at the start of your turn, every turn. So every turn with this build, you will get this much for free, which is how your powers scale up. Now, let's go to forming a majority. I'm going to keep this here, and we're going to assume that this is this person's build in the 8th turn, because we have 8 cards over here. Awesome. When you start placing voters and you have placed 5 voters in this zone, they all flip up. And now you have a majority in this zone, which means that now you have scored 5 points. Unless something breaks the majority, you have 5 points in the end game. But let's go on to the next and the most interesting rule, which is gerrymandering. Here, any question that you may have, I will unmute you. You can ask questions. Let's say you have 3 voters in this zone, and someone else has 2 voters in this zone. Can I have one more player voter pick? Sorry. 1 second. Okay, we have some questions coming in which are pertinent. So let me answer those questions first. Can you change the camera to me? Okay. Who is giving the resources with the card? So first question. So this is the card you answer. The resources come from the bank. The resources don't come from any player. So the second you answer this question, you answer a question at the start of your turn. The second you answer it, you get 2 media and 1 trust from this card. Had you given this answer, you would get 2 funds and 1 clout. And you get this from the bank, not from a player. Next question, can you shift your screen? Can you shift the screen to the bottom left? The picture in picture. Can you move the studio? Yeah, can you move it there, that side? Valid point. Thank you so much. Yeah. I hope that's better. And can you go up on this? On the chat? Yeah, go down. Can you shift a small screen? How are we distributing ideology cards? You don't distribute ideology cards. You get 1 ideology card at the start of, you get asked an ideology card at the start of your turn. So every turn you get 1 ideology card. On the 7th turn, you'll have 7. On your 8th turn, you'll have 8. So when you say for every 2 cards, you get 1 extra resource, that means no, for every 2, you get 1. So if you have 2, you get 1 fund. If you have 4, you get 2 funds. This is over and above the number that's on that particular card. So this character has 5 showstopper, okay? And which means that they will get 2 media every, what do you call it? Every turn, and 1 capitalist, 1 funds every turn. Next question. Is that correct that at level 3, I get the benefits of level 2 and level 3? Yes. At level 2, you get a benefit. At level 3, you get level 2 ka benefit and level 3's benefit. At 4, you get 2 resources and level 3's benefit. At 5, you get 2 resources and level 3 and level 5. So powers don't replace each other. They keep stacking. Next. How can a person who got the start first, how can the person who got to start first because the majority voted against him start his move? Which voter placing area will give him more strategic advantage? We'll get to that in a second, Pratik. I'm asking because players after me will start getting extra resources each turn on that turn, right? Even you will get, in your turn, you will be asked a question and you get 3 resources. They will also get 3. The extra free resource you will get before them because you will play your second turn before them. So you have advantage that way. Volatile voters will cover later. We can keep max 7, right? No, you can have as many of the same card. If you want to have 10 showstopper cards, you can have 10 showstopper. But that does not mean you get to use a level 5 2 times. Level 5 is unlocked. At 6, you do not get to use a level 3 2 times. For 2-player mode, we'll get to 2-player mode later. Sorry. Sorry. What Dheeraj was talking about earlier? Can we go back to Dheeraj's earlier comment? No, you can have a maximum of 12 resources. We'll get to that later. So let's say the 3 players playing. Okay. Pink is building their majority over here, is trying to. Purple is building, purple, which is you, is building it over here, and green is building over here. Now, if green captures this, and we're getting into gerrymandering, which is perhaps the most FAQ'd question, if green gets a majority over here, they will get 11 points. You will get 6 points. So you do not want this to happen. What do? You can do one of 3 things, right? To stop them. You can start placing your voters over here when you buy new voters. You can convince pink to place their voters over here when they buy new voters. Or what you could do is start gerrymandering. Now, when you gerrymander, you're basically making your opponent will have the same number of voters, but you are going to divide them. And because they're divided, they're weaker. How does that work? In the northeast zone, you have more voters than anyone else. Even if Teal had 2 voters over here, you have 3, they have 2, which means you have more voters than anyone else. Which means you have gerrymandering rights in this zone and all neighboring zones, which means you can influence this zone and all neighboring zones. What does that mean? You can take a voter from one neighboring zone and put it in another. So now green has the same number of voters, but they are split. Or you can put your voter in. Or you can put pink's voter in. But you cannot jump from year to year because you don't have influence over here. Similarly, you cannot jump from year to year because you can only jump one border. So basically, imagine this border and you're just drawing it like differently. So the water was here and now it's here. Having said that, if you don't particularly like this person, and while gerrymandering them, you can gerrymander them into these dark circles. These dark circles are called volatile zones. Any voter that enters a volatile zone cannot move ever. No card, no rule, no action in the game at all, no exceptions, can move a voter in a volatile zone. What happens in a volatile zone? At the end of that turn, that person will draw a headline. Can you swap? This is a headline card. Draw the top one and read it out. It is most likely going to be a bad news. Very, very rarely a good news. So if you don't like someone, put them in headline zones. If you're feeling super risky and you want to take a gamble, put yourself in volatile zones. But I would not recommend that. Okay, Ishita wants me to explain gerrymandering again. Let's take it from scratch. Any specific, while I'm doing it from scratch, if you have any specific questions about gerrymandering, please put them in the chat. Awesome, thank you. If you have more voters than anyone else in a zone, so here you have 3, other people have 2, so you have more than anyone else. You have gerrymandering rights in that zone, which means you can influence that zone and all neighboring zones. So if you have gerrymandering rights in this zone, you can only influence these 2. If you have gerrymandering rights in this zone, you can influence this, this, and this. The larger the zone, the more zones it can influence. But the more zones it can be influenced by. For example, the north zone, because Teal has more voters than everyone else, they can influence this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. But all of them can also influence it. So it's a high risk, high reward space. Now what's going to happen? Because me as purple has gerrymandering in this zone, I can start affecting green. So I can take green's voter and make it jump one border into another zone I can influence. So green can go from year to year. Green can go from year to year. Green can go from year to year. Green can also go from year to year. While doing this, I can place them in any space in this zone because that does not matter. Except this one, this one, this one. These are volatile zones. What does the color of the zones signify? The darker it's just to create contrast on the board, actually. The visual of the zone, I think. These two are the same color, they are the same size. There's no particular color theming per se, just to create contrast. If I put any player in volatile zone, will he pick headline in my turn or is it his turn? At the end of your turn, the headline will be drawn for them. So if I put Sakshi's voter in a volatile zone, Sakshi will draw a headline card at the end of my turn. It will affect her. It will say, you must. If it says all players, then it affects everyone. Any other questions? Can you scroll up? Nitya has a question on YouTube. How are we deciding how many zones can influence? You can influence voters and place them in any zone. So if you influence this voter card, you can pick up 3 voters and put them anywhere. But because they came from the same card, you have to put them in the same zone. Hope that answers the question, Nitya. Moving on. Can we explain buying voter cards again? We'll do that later. Otherwise, we'll keep going out in circles. We'll turn the cameras on, mics on for all of you, and we can do that later. So we have covered gerrymandering, we have covered influencing voters, we have covered level 3 and level 5 powers. Now we're going to cover conspiracy cards. Conspiracy cards are these cards. Which camera, please? Yeah, these cards. Now these cards are only good news. Once you buy them at any point in your turn or between 2 players' turns, you can use them. They cost 4 or 5 or 5. The number is written on the bottom left corner. Pay any resource of that type and buy these cards. Don't have to show them to your opponents until you use them. They will have a name of the card. They will have what the power, a story about the card and what the power does. You can use it at any turn of yours. You don't have to use it right away. It is always, unlike the headlines, it's good news for you. Headlines are bad news for you. So as the game progresses, you will place more voters. As you place more voters, you will form majorities. As majorities form, you will score points. And that is it. That's all of SHASN. There are no other rules that you need to know. Can anyone donate resources without trade? No, you cannot. You can trade 1 for 3, 1 for 5, but you cannot give away resources. Same type of resource cards or any 4 or 5 resources can any 4 or 5. So you can give 2 of one, 3 of the other, 2 of one, then 1 of one each of the other 3, whatever you want. Scroll up before Pratik's question. Can you donate? No. I'll explain the chronology of actions again. One last rule, you cannot have more than 12 resources. Camera switch. You cannot have more than 12 resources ever. If you have more than 12, so this player, let's say they keep collecting resources. Okay. And now they are going to get more resources because the turn just began and they get 3 resources. Now they have 15. They cannot do any action till they decide what 3 they want to throw away. They can throw away the new ones. They can throw away a combination of the new and old ones. But until they come back to 12, they cannot take any actions. So now let's go over the chronology of actions and explain the actions in short again, after which you can raise your hands and you can ask me questions. Awesome. So you're going to clear the board out to make it very, very clear. It might sound, what do you call it, obvious, but your turn begins when when the person before you ends their turn. When they end their turn, they signify that their turn has ended by asking you a question from the ideology deck. Each question has a question on top and 2 answers, 1 on each side. Do not show them the card. Do not show them the resources or the color. All you have to do is read the question and both the answers out. Now they will take that, they will think about it and they will answer the question. Once they answer the question, they will get the resources written on the card. They will slide it under the player mat. Now, if they have 2 of any resource type, they will gain more resources of that type. If they have 3, they have unlocked powers. If they have 5, they unlock powers. After they've gotten their resources from the powers and from the, what do you call it, they will discard down to 12. Once they have done that, they can start taking actions. The first action they can take, and actions can happen in any order. The first action they can take is spending resources to buy voters. This comes to the question from earlier. How do you uh, gain voters? Let's say this one. This gives you 3 voters and requires 2 trust, 2 media, and 1 clout. Discard these, put them back in the bank, discard these 3 voters, open a new one up, and now you can place 3 voters anywhere on the board. Can you place them here? Yes, you can. Can you place them here? Yes, you can. Any one zone on the board. Voters from the same card cannot go in different zones, so you can't do this. But you can definitely do this. Then, after you've done that, you can see if you can gerrymander, even before. You can, in your turn, you can influence voters, buy conspiracy cards, gerrymander your opponents, trade with your opponents. And if you put someone in a volatile zone, at the end, when you say my turn has ended, you draw a headline card. After a headline card has resolved, you ask the player after you the next question. That is it. That is as simple as your turn is. Let's take some questions now. 1 second. Arihant on YouTube is asking minimum number of players required at a time. There's a 2-player mode and a 3 to 5 player mode. So 2 is the minimum number. 4 is ideal. Is it necessary to form a majority to gerrymander? No, you don't need to form a majority to gerrymander. If you have more voters than anyone else, you can gerrymander. Yes, Gurkirat has answered that correctly. We're coming back to our chat on Zoom. Can you zoom up? Yeah, up. Is the answer? Okay, great. Does having 1 voter in the whole region to none of any of your opponents be deemed as majority? Yes. I won't call it majority, but you have you have gerrymandering rights. Majority is when you have that full number. Let's not confuse ourselves with the terminology. If you have 1 voter, I have 1 voter here. There's no voters on this area. So all these areas can be affected by me. So if someone even has 4 voters over here, because I have 1 over here, I can influence them. You mentioned conspiracy is answered immediately as a player picks it up. No, conspiracy can be read, can be used immediately. You don't have to use it immediately. You can use it in any turn of yours. Headline at the end of that player's turn. So if I gerrymander this person now, when my turn ends, I can buy more voter cards, I can do other things. When my turn ends, I say my turn has ended, then the headline gets drawn. Third, switch to me, na camera. How many voters can be gerrymandered in one go? You can gerrymander 1 voter per gerrymandering right. What does that mean? Switch. It means if I have gerrymandering rights here, gerrymandering rights here as purple, and gerrymandering rights here as purple, I can gerrymander once with this zone, which means affect all of these. I can gerrymander once with this zone, which means affect all of these. I can gerrymander once with this zone, which means all of these. That's every turn. So you can gerrymander once per zone per turn. How many voters can... Okay, great. To end the game, all zones have... Yes, to end the game, all zones have to have majority. The second all zones have majority, the game ends. Can you scroll up? There was one question earlier about discourse something. Go up. Is the objective of the game to have also have discourse? The design objective of the game, Kanchan, is for people to talk about policy, people to talk about politics, but that doesn't, it's not enforced anywhere in the rules. So you can play a quiet game with your friends if that's the banter that you have, or you can play a very, very involved game where you discuss politics all the time. Scroll down. Okay, awesome. Now let's go to Zoom. Zoom. Yeah. Okay, now any of you can raise your hands and we can unmute you and you can ask me a question. Ishita, can you unmute Ishita? First one. Yeah, can you unmute her? Yeah. Ask to unmute? Yeah. Sakshi, can you take over? Can you unmute Ishita? Sorry. First one. Ishita, we have given you permission to unmute.
Oh, okay, sorry. So this is Akshat in turn of Ashita here. Thank you for the opportunity again. So I wanted to
Ashwarya has a
ask.
question. Responding to an ideology card and the game design, does the player have to agree rationale of the card? Uh, no, you don't have to. Many people I know role play characters. They don't answer how they actually believe. Ishita, you're unmuted, but sorry, we have an audio issue. I can't. Do you have audio here?
Can you? Is it? Am I audible now?
It's fine. I'm going to be on headphones because otherwise there'll be a crazy echo with the questions.
Okay. Am I audible again?
Okay,
Sorry.
awesome. Ishita, can you say something? I have no audio.
Audio
Sorry, give me a
issues.
second. Technical glitch. Kanchan, can you unmute?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Awesome. Kanchan, can you say something?
Yeah, I am saying.
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
So I also wanted to show my board once.
Sure.
I am not able to enable my
Can you
camera.
help Kanchan turn her video on? Ask to start video. Yeah. Kanchan, can you turn it on now?
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Hello.
Hi. So for the two-player game, I've never understood what these are for, the
Got
zone
it.
requirements.
Awesome. So let me finish everything for the 3 to 5 player. Then we'll switch to the 2 player. Any other questions?
Nothing.
None. Okay. Awesome. Let's go back to Ishita. Hi, Ishita. Can you?
Hello, am I
Hello.
audible?
Hi.
Nishita this
Yes, you're
side.
audible. Awesome.
Hi. So, my question was, let's say you said that in a zone of 611, if I have
Yes, I can hear you.
11 of the entire zone, so my
Mm-hmm.
point will be 6 or my point will be 11 in that zone.
Okay, Ishita's question for everyone on Zoom who can't hear her is, if they can't hear her, I think you can. Uh, if you have 7 voters, 8 voters, 9 voters, any number, the maximum score you can get from a zone is 6. So
Okay,
at no point can you get 21 points here or 9 points here. 5 year, 11 year, 6 year.
got it. Got it. Got it.
Awesome. Any other questions? Kanchan, are you done? Because your hand's raised. Okay, awesome. We're going to go to YouTube for some questions. Does the extra voters from the showstopper level 3 also go in the same zone? Yes, it does. Since they ain't regular. Arihant, yes, we are going to do a how to play video in Hindi at some point. What if I have gerrymandering rights in a zone? And the zone I want to gerrymander where other player has a majority. Majority voters cannot be gerrymandered unless otherwise specified. So for example, showstopper level 5 can gerrymander uh, a majority, but right now green over here cannot gerrymander purple because they have a full majority. Their voters are face up, which means they have 6 voters, and now they are cemented until a level 5 power or something else breaks them up. Discarded voters, can they come back on the next round? Yeah, discarded voters just go off the mat. You can influence them again and put them back. I think that covers everything. If we have any more questions, how many ideology cards can I have? Is there a limit to that? The ideology cards basically signify how many rounds the game has gone for. So if a 10-round game, which is the average, you'll have 10 ideology cards, but I have seen people go up to 14, 15 rounds and unlock lots of powers. In that scenario, the limit is how long you play. Level 3 showstopper says +1 voter per voter card. Does that mean one voter card or one voter on the board? Basically, it means if you influence a 2 voter card that turn, you get 3 voters instead. If you influence the 3 voter card, you get 4. 1, you get 2. Can you go to Zoom chat? Yeah, we're on Zoom chat. To see if anyone's raised their hands. They open Zoom? Yeah. Kanchan has raised hand again. Kanchan, unmuting you now.
Yeah, so my question is also in the chat. Can we gerrymander ourselves or somebody else out of the volatile zone? And also, if all the volatile zones already have a voter, then I mean, how does that work? Because
Okay,
there's
so
so many.
once a voter is in a volatile zone, it cannot be touched. No matter what, nothing doing, that voter cannot be touched. Which means
Yeah.
that there are 20 headline cards in the game and 11 volatile zones, which means only 11 headline cards maximum will open in the game, never more.
Okay, understood. Okay. And I can gerrymander myself out.
You know, once a voter is in a volatile zone, it's in a volatile zone. It cannot be moved. You
Got it.
can gerrymander your other voters, definitely, but not from a volatile zone.
Okay.
In volatile, sorry, go on. Kanchan, are you done? Unmute. I think she's done. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
done,
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Can volatile voters be turned upside down while forming? Yes. You can decide. So let's say this is my scenario. I can at any point in my turn say, this is my majority voter, this is non-majority, and hence I'm gerrymandering this out. That call is entirely yours. Judge. Scenario, I have one volatile zone. Yes, you can. So this scenario is correct. Or show me YouTube chart on your phone if you can. Okay. Can gerrymander? Kanchan's question that we already answered. I'm going to check YouTube again for any comments. The response, Advait says, the response on the card tend to become obvious what ideologue they belong to after playing a few times. Honestly, we designed it in a way to be obvious even the first time. So we want people to know, hey, am I going capitalist or showstopper? We don't want it to be completely random. But you can play it however you want. It's like that Twitter meme about Uno. Give me the cards, I'll take it from here. So people in different cities, I know, play the game differently, and that's fine. But in a tournament setting, when we have the SHASN Cup starting next month, we'll be playing by the rules in the book, no other way. We make them read out the... we want people to know what ideologue they're getting. We don't want it to be completely random. So that's one thing. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to flip the board over and cover the 2-player mode. Awesome. So give me 1 second while I set up. We are going to, so this is the 2-player side of the board. Most of the game is set up similarly. which is you take your voter cards, you place them here. You take your conspiracy cards, you place them here. You take your headline cards, you place them here. But something else changes. How you decide first player changes. So everyone gets 8 resources of their choice. One second. There's so many versions of the game that. Sorry, they get 8 resources, 2 of each type at the start of their turn, which basically start of the game, which means you get 2 funds, 2 clout, 2 trust, and 2 media when the game begins. Now what's going to happen is you will bid, which means you will take all the resources and hide them. Okay. So I've hidden the resources. My opponent doesn't know what I have, and I'm going to bid. I'm going to bid something. Okay. And on 3, 2, 1, we'll reveal. My bid is 3. If their bid is also 3, we go again. If their bid is more, they discard the resources, and I keep mine, and the game begins. So now, because they wanted to play first, they have lesser resources. Now, what does playing first mean? Everything else is the same, but one more rule changes. You have 14 zone requirement cards. These are additional cards that change rules on the board. You will take these, you will shuffle these. And you will distribute them 7 each to each player. Now, starting with player 2, because I lost the bid and my opponent won the bid, they are playing first, which means I can now decide zone requirement first. I look at the cards, not show it to them, and I'm going to, let's say, take no collusion and place it here. Now, that means that this zone has this requirement. It says 1 time requirement. If you can see that over here, which it says at the bottom 1 time requirement, which basically means that at any point in the game, just once in the game, you have to meet this requirement, which says play 3 conspiracy cards in a single turn. So once I do that, once I buy 3 conspiracy cards and play them in the same turn, I will place my voter peg over here. I'm purple, so I place a voter peg saying I have done this and now I can form a majority. Before that, I could place voters, but I couldn't form a majority. Then my opponent, okay, that's how it works. After I've placed one, my opponent plays one. They say they place this one over here. It says the big shot have 2 other majorities. So for this zone, if they can place voters over here, well and fine. But if they want to form a majority in this zone, they need to have 2 other majorities. Let's say I have this majority and this majority. Now they can form a majority over here. If they lose this majority, that's fine. This majority still stays. But if it breaks while forming majority again, they need to have the requirement fulfilled. It says at the bottom, while forming majority. The third kind, and now I'll place one, is zonal rule. This zonal rule is called bureaucracy. As you can see at the bottom here, it says zonal rule. You can hold a majority here as long as you have majority in an adjacent zone. This applies over here, which means as long as there's a majority somewhere here for me, I can hold this majority. If I have majority over here, and that's the only one, and this one breaks too. Let's see if there are any other, like the last frontier. Voters influenced by voter cards cannot be placed here. Let's say this goes over here. So in this zone, all voters, in this zone, all voters can't be placed by voter cards. You cannot place voter card voters over here. So you can influence all the voters you want in the world, but you can't place them over here. What you can do is gerrymander voters here, evicted voters, convert voters, everything else. You cannot place voters over here. So one by one, the two of us will place cards till 7 are filled. Once 7 are filled, the extra 7 will be discarded. You don't need them anymore. And the game begins and everything goes on as normal. Just one last bit of setup. Some conspiracy and headline cards will have no two-player. There's no two-player symbol at the bottom that you can see, the black symbol. Remove them before the game begins. They normally require 3 players or 4 players for them to be effective, and hence will not be a part of the game. Okay, now we'll go back to questions. One is in which tournament, in the tournament, which deck will be used? In the tournament, we'll be using the latest India deck, the one that all of you have. The new India deck will launch right after the tournament. Okay, Harshit, there's a question which Jaswant answered. Correct. Thank you, Jaswant. Shashank, can you explain bleeding heart? Have few voters in a volatile zone. Does that mean across different regions? Yes, because each zone only has one. Which also means since there are 7, only one of you can fulfill the bleeding heart condition. Basically, what you have to do is get in the volatile zone first. It will punish you heavily, but that one zone is for sure yours. For 2-player mode, we start with 8 resources, unlike 12. No, in 12, in the 2+ player mode, which is 3, 4, 5-player mode, you start with no resources. You earn every resource. You get starting resources 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, depending on if you're the first, second, third, fourth, or 5th player. Does the cap of 8 resources in 2-player mode continue? You start with 8. You can have 12. So you can have 12 resources. You start with 8. When will it then trigger 4 headlines? Yes, every time you place a voter in a volatile zone, you will trigger a headline. Scroll down. That's it. Okay, let's go back to YouTube. Yes, Pranav's question is in the way of the board is set up now, the purple has a majority in one zone and there's extra purple voter, so the give purple gerrymandering rights over the green voters in neighboring zone. Yes, because they're more than anyone else. 2-player mode, don't both the players discard. 1 second. Yes, sorry, that I made an error earlier. All bid resources. So if you bid 4 and they bid 3, all 7 go to the discard pile. There was an error on my part. Sorry about that. Can you guys just play once, all of you, so you can see how it looks? Yes, Vishant. Next week, we're doing a live stream on YouTube where all of us will be playing the game together and taking you beat by beat on how the game is played. Tushar, I won't cover volatile coalition rules over here because they're not part of the core rule set and will just confuse new players. For new players, there are additional rules called coalitions. They're not tournament rules, but they are rules that we put in given the political scenario and given everyone wanting in India. And you make a political game in India, everyone wants coalitions. I think it's just second nature to us. What is the benefit of playing first if I lose that many resources? But you get to place first, which means you get to unlock your powers first. You get to set the tempo of the game. Every other player has a chance to change the board after you. Yes, true. So basically, what you want to do is convince your opponents not to make you go first, if that's what you think. From the hundreds of players I have played with, some want to go first, some do not want to go first. What does it mean by majority breaks? Let's say you have 6 voters and suddenly you have 5. Your majority breaks, flip all the voters. Can we buy ideology cards from another player by giving resources? No. Ideology cards can be moved around in very, very limited cases using headlines and conspiracies. You cannot trade them, you cannot buy them, you cannot sell them. Okay, raise of hands on Zoom. Anyone want any more questions? In 2-player mode, headlines can't be solved sometimes due to resources. That happens in the 4-player mode also. And that's something that you can house rule. Normally, the headline just skips over you. We are not discussing elite cards today. No, we are not. Sorry. Can conspiracy cards like 3 into a cast cards convert volatile zone voters? Yes. Volatile voters can be volatile voters cannot be converted no matter what. If a voter is in volatile zone, There's no rule in the game that can change them. Can you please give new hack strategies, advantages that we can get from the start? The problem with me doing a YouTube with hacks and telling people strategies is that strategy will become meta. If everyone uses a strategy, that's not a strategy, that's a rule then. And everyone has a secret. One simple tool is build vertical and not horizontal, which means when you're building, try leveling up faster, try getting to level 5 faster. Level 5 allows you to break majorities. It's a great gun to hold over your opponent's heads while you negotiate. Any update regarding Azadi? It's shipped from China. We manufacture Azadi in China. I know it's ironic, but we do. But it's shipped from China. It should be reaching the backers soon, assuming Indian customs don't slow things down for us. But fingers crossed. And two-player mode headlines can't be solved. Okay, that we done that. Can you please unmute? Can you unmute Tejasvi? Tejasvi, can you raise your hand? Can you go to chat? Click on Zoom. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Hi, Tejasvi.
Hi, Zain. I would like to ask you about some conspiracy cards.
Okay, let's do a specific conspiracy card, just one or two, because we're doing a separate video on those later. But because you are here, I'll allow them. Which ones?
I believe it's 1 minute. It's Jumla.
Yeah, I kind of called that because Jumla is the most asked question. When you ask something, okay, it's most likely going to be Jumla. Okay, awesome. Jumla is an extra conspiracy card, but like a Jumla, it has no. You can't have faith in it. It keeps bouncing around. It's fickle. What does Jumla say? You're not telling lies. You're just telling the people what they want to hear. This is an extra ideology card of your choice. So it can be an idealist, it can be a showstopper, it can be a supremo, it can be capitalist. Now let's say I tuck it over here. I am level 4 capitalist. So this is, I'm level 3, this makes it level 4. Now my opponents, because it's level 4, can pay me 4 resources in their turns and buy it from me. I cannot say no. In their turn, if they have put it on a level 3, on 2 cards, and now it's level 3, I can buy it back for 3 resources. You cannot.
But in your turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because this card was getting bounced around in my game, but the turn was not changing.
You can only buy Joomla in your turn. So if it's not my turn, I can't buy it from you. I can only buy it from you in my turn.
Okay.
So
And
it
one
will
more,
bounce around.
until proven innocent.
Until proven innocent, let me spell it out for you.
It seems like a really weak card, but there is 2 marks, 2 exclamation marks over it.
Okay, exclamation marks does not mean if the power is strong or weak. Exclamation mark only means that if you're playing with kids, there's some things that might be sensitive, or you're playing with people with trauma. There's some things that might be sensitive, so you don't want to have them. So the exclamation cards, which are very few, get removed because of that. It's just us being careful on content advisory.
Okay.
So draconian
Zan,
laws
can
are
I ask?
yes.
Zan, sorry, Zan. Can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Because that was my pain point during my game. It was a thing that makes me lose always, all the time.
Okay.
The level 5 power of capitalist
Sure.
is that it can evict a voter, evict 3 voters.
Yes.
And the player whose voters are evicted, they can play, he or she can place it in his or her next turn.
Yes.
So what does the next turn means? Like a player in my left has evicted my voters. Now can I place it? Or
No, when it's your
then
next turn, when your turn,
means
when you're playing, when you answer
one more
ideology
circle.
card, yes, one more circle. And this is for
It
free.
means it.
You can place them back for free.
Yes, it's the strongest level 5 power.
Well, if you think so, that's great. If you go to the board game big forums, there are 4 different forums, each calling each level 5 power the strongest. I honestly don't have an answer. I personally don't play with only Supremo because playing with Supremo paints a target on your back. People hate you when you play Supremo. That's the only reason I don't play with Supremo. But I think it's very powerful. I think all the others are very powerful. Remember, evicted voters get placed back for free. So the eviction happens, but they come back. But you can also evict your own voters. So you can move voters around. So that's something. The game has ideology cards between 22 to 23.
Thank you, sir.
Can we thank you, Tejasvi. Thanks for joining. Can we expect 2024 as well? So the next campaign will be 24-25. It's very difficult for me to come with 100 unique policy questions every year. So we do 1.5-year cycles or 2-year cycles. Does evict and die mean the same for the game? No. Evicted voters come back for free. Discarded voters, we don't use the word die in the game. Discarded voters are out of the game, which means you can influence them again. You can pay for them again, the same vote circle, same peg, but you don't get them back for free. Let's go back to YouTube for some questions. Arushi, tutorial video in Hindi coming soon. Sakshi, that's on you. Video of 2 players are playing so we can understand we are doing a 4-player game tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week. So 4 of us will be playing the game at some point and you can watch that. Did it clarify on WhatsApp or ask you? Yes, level 5 power means level 3 power can still be used. Conspiracy until proven innocent. I think we just covered that. For Jumla, at the start of my turn, I am on capitalist. End of turn, can I change it to unideologue? Yes, you can. Kshitij, does having more number of voters mean majority, or by flipping voters we declare majority? If you have 6 in a 6-11 zone, you have majority. That's the only time you can flip. If you have 7, you still have majority, but you only get 6 points. Other decks are launching soon. We have a 2-week window for the other decks. We'll also be doing 2 decks that people have never seen coming out this year. Stay tuned for them. We'll be doing limited drops for both the decks. They'll be coming out in 2-month gaps and very small limited print runs. Please cover the reverse and block card. Can a block card be reversed? No. A reverse card can be blocked. A block card can't be reversed. It's as the word. You play a power, I can block it. You play a power, reverse means I can play it back on you. How can I play a block back on you? You can't block. A block is a reactive power, so hence cannot be reversed. How can I get all the decks? Soon we'll be launching all the decks on our website. So you're going to be able to buy the US campaign, the Brexit campaign, the Rome campaign, and everyone's favorite, the Future of Humanity campaigns on the website soon. We'll also be doing a bundle for people who want to buy all of them. We also have 2 new campaigns coming out soon. They won't be part of any bundles, but they will be available in limited drops. So when you get that email, when you get the WhatsApp blast, please buy it. This is something that's happened. When I do limited drops, people don't believe me. And now I get DMs every day asking for that gorgeous black box SHASN, which doesn't exist anymore. So please take my word on it. I have limited resources to manufacture limited of the expensive sets. So if I say limited drop, I am not lying to you. Just buy the limited drop. Awesome. I think we're done. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're done just in time. We opened up a hiring story. Yes, we are hiring graphic designers right now. So if you are a graphic designer, apply. Tabletop, I am looking for people to come on board, but again, write to me on my email ID, zmmemon@gmail.com. Tell me why you like games. Tell me what games you like. Tell me why you want to make games. It's okay if you have never made a game. That's fine. So write into me. How do you get in touch with you if you have any more future questions? I respond to almost every DM on Instagram, Twitter, X, no. So email, which I just talked about, and Instagram are the best ways. Awesome. Yes, I think I got an email. I will get back to you. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in. This video is on YouTube. If you want to show your friends the video before you start the next game. We also have a how to play video, the rule books, all the rules are covered. Very soon, we'll be doing a play along. Very soon, where 4 of us will be playing the game together to do a demo. We'll also be doing a full explainer video on each conspiracy and headline card so that there are no ambiguities. And when you do have those fights with your friends, you can just pull the video out, say, no, you're wrong, and I saw the video, I'm right. Awesome. Thank you. Umang, no online version, sorry. Tejasvi, not right now. We're only looking at full time. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye. And any more questions, hit me up on IG.